If a person threatens to release a tape of you engaged in that kind of behavior because they're angry at you because you're dating someone new, okay, that is threatening you with revenge porn, okay? If they do it, that is a criminal charge of revenge porn if he releases the tape. But getting angry when they find out that you are dating someone else and threatening to release that, that's not blackmail. Okay, that is not the same thing. Unless he says, you need to break up with him right now. You need to get over here and engage in a freak-off. Otherwise, I'm going to do that. That's blackmail. But that is not at all what she's saying. Okay, it is not the same thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm talking about whether or not his behavior fits a specific criminal charge that is cited in the indictment. So I decided I want to start this video off like this because there's going to be a fair amount of this video where it's going to sound like I am defending Diddy. And I want to make perfectly that I am not defending Diddy. This guy is a woman victimizer. Okay, like this is a person who hurts women. You guys should know I have zero tolerance for that. Okay. But I also very much enjoy analyzing legal cases and then looking into the validity of certain charges, like listening to stories and then going, does this sound like it adds up to you guys? Okay, so on, so forth, etc. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in this case, but I want to start with the following, okay? I have listened to her testimony today talking about as Diddy stomped on her head, okay? Gave her black eyes all the time, beat her, threw things at her, caught her in situations that she shouldn't have even been in trouble for. She went to a party and he found out and he beat her senseless, beat her blue. Okay. Like as soon as a person is beating up girls, like you're not going to have me defend you. And at the same time, I'm also going to show you guys just because Cassie's testimony is the absolute crux of it. At the very least, the trafficking portion of this case. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but I wanted to show you guys, I want to talk about two things here real quick before we get into that part. Okay. Number one is she is now together with Alex Fine. It's her husband. They're about to have their third kid together. He is in the courtroom. And I have wondered how he is dealing with listening to these stories about this guy beating and dragging and hurting this woman that he loves more than anything, who's right there. He's looking at the mother of his kids and the dude who did it's right there. And I understand now. And I totally understand. Okay. Now, the reason that I understand is because they went through this one thing where they were talking about them interacting with each other in the courtroom. And, I was looking at this picture of Alex Fine. Take a look at that. Hey, you guys think that outfit is accidental? He's wearing all black. It looks like it looks like he has been training nonstop, for this trial, because his purpose of being in there is to look scary, right? Because what is he doing in there? He's providing support for his girl, right? And what's actually going on right now, for the record, is as much as I was like, dude, I wouldn't know how I would be able to be in the same room as Diddy. I would want to kill him. And that's the thing. They are killing him. Cassie and Alex, they are killing him. Okay. He's going to end up in prison forever. And so Alex gets to go into the courtroom. And while Cassie, his girl, is up there giving testimony that's going to lead to Diddy being in a box for the rest of his life, he is there providing support. And because they keep saying that Alex Fine, he looks at Diddy a lot. Diddy never looks at Alex, and Alex looks at Diddy all the time. And that tells me all I need to know. Okay. He doesn't need to get violent. Okay. He is putting his lights out right now. What's worse? Would you rather die or be Diddy and live the rest of your days in a box, knowing that me and my girl did that to you? Okay. That shit's gangster. I'm going to tell you that right now. But here's the other thing. Okay. But to be fair, when you're actually looking at the facts of this case, the facts of the Cassie side of this case, okay, forget about every other part of the case. I want to make that perfectly clear. Every single thing that I'm going to say in this video, I am not talking about any of the other things that Diddy has done or not done. I am specifically talking about this thing with Cassie, all right? And I'm going to give you an example of how gray and weird some of this stuff gets, okay? So here, Cassie says that she, as they were nearing closure at the end of their relationship in 2018, Sean and Cassandra Ventura had dinner. Afterwards, they went back to Ventura's home and he raped her, she says, okay? Ventura was by then together with now husband, Alex Fine, but she and Combs had a nice meal and their rapport was playful, even romantic, as he brought her home. And then he raped me in my living room, she says. I just remember crying and saying no, but it was very fast. Later, after another positive outing, she had sex with him one more time, but by choice. When asked why, she pointed to their decade together. You don't just turn feelings off like that. I still had a good vision of who he was as a person. Guys, you know what I mean? Like, I understand battered woman syndrome, but like, this is what I'm talking about. Or actually, this is not even what I'm talking about because the trafficking stuff is much more clear cut. But I think like this, you're all, because I said to Gabrielle in the video that we did on Play with Matches, I was like, I absolutely believe that Diddy probably did grape her in 2019. I hadn't read this though. And I'm like, wait a minute. So she was already together with her fitness trainer. So she's not supposed to sleep with Diddy, right? Like, cause now, you know, she's together with a dude. She went, what are you doing going to dinner with him then? Like, what are you doing going to dinner, having a romantic time and then having him bring you home? Okay. Like, I'm sorry, you're together with someone else now and you're out to dinner having a nice romantic time with the dude that you were together with for 10 years who you had sex like hundreds of times with male escorts and you let him bring you home and then you're like, yeah, and then, you know, I got graped. You're like, okay, all right. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you know, and then like a few weeks later, I willingly had sex with him. You're like, okay, nope, I'm sorry. Nope, you lost me. Okay, now you lost me. I'm sorry. You know, I do believe she probably was kind of like, no, we shouldn't do this, you know, and he probably should have stopped. But I mean, you know, and maybe he's guilty of grape. I don't know. I'm just talking about like judging her behavior. What the fuck are you doing? You have a new guy, right? You care about your new guy. You don't want to be with him. What are you doing with him? Why are you letting him bring you home? And then why are you hanging out with him again if you're together with this other dude? Now, we're going to get into the trafficking charge now, okay? So I just want to be clear, okay? My problem with entire societal interpretations of things is they are incapable of looking at things in the gray. They look at good guy, bad guy, right? Good guy, bad guy. Diddy is the bad guy. Cassie is the good girl. It's like, dude, life is not that simple. You can have two bad guys, all right? Now, do I think Diddy is going to end up in prison? Absolutely. Do I think he deserves to go to prison? Absolutely. Can I also have like a discerning eye when it comes to things that Cassie says? Absolutely. And most of all, when James Comey's daughter is the one prosecuting this case, can I be extraordinarily skeptical of the legitimacy of the things that she's charging Diddy with? For sure. All of those things can be true at once. Now let's jump into how I see this case going forward. The trafficking charge is indefensible at this point, okay? So we're going to go through some of the communication between Diddy and Cassie that, I mean, it's completely destroys the prosecution's case when it comes to trafficking, okay? Bottom line. Now, there's a lot of other stuff in what came out today that is unbelievable. Like, Diddy is a monster. He's a violent monster. He is a bad person. He's a defiler. He is a person who deserves zero sympathy. People are saying like, oh, Jesse's riding the fence. Dude, no, I'm not. Okay. Diddy is a bad person who deserves whatever comes his way, period. He beats women. He terrifies women. He dominates women. He's into defiling women. He is a terrible person. Okay. Bottom line. But when you have text messages between people and you are trying to prove a specific charge, that is not up for debate. If like if you say this person had express, you know, pre-thought knowledge of an armed robbery that was about to happen, right? Or whatever. And then you get into the text messages and it shows very clearly that the person who did the armed robbery tricked the person into picking them up in front of the, you know, the gas station. It's like, hey man, my car ran out of gas. Can you make sure to be at the gas station at 6 p.m.? The person's like, yeah, man, I'll be there. No problem. And then they text their mom. They're all, hey, you know, Jerry ran out of gas. And so I need to go pick him up. And then this guy robs the gas station. You pick him up and you drive away. And they're trying to prosecute the driver as being an accomplice that knew that he was going to rob the gas station. Okay, well, those text messages prove that's not true. Okay, like clearly not an accomplice, had no idea. All right. So they can prove that you're innocent in that case. But with the Diddy thing, I just cannot stress this enough. They're not proving that he's innocent. They're proving he's innocent of the trafficking charge when it comes to Cassie, unless someone wants to make a good argument in the comments for how I am misinterpreting this, because I would love to hear that, because I would love to see him go to jail, okay? So we're going to go through that. We're also, though, going to go through some of the violence, because I think that's important to do also, right? Like, I don't want to just paint a picture. I don't want it to seem like, oh, Diddy's been wrongfully whatever, but that's what we're going to do. Now, I've been saying from the beginning, I had a feeling that this Cassie, trafficking thing, which means that she had, was against her will, was going to be nearly impossible to prove. And the prosecution put these text messages out today because they had to, right? These are text messages that existed. They knew they were going to come out, and it's better for them to put them out now so they could surround them with the circumstance that Diddy is a terrifying, violent monster. And at least then the jurors will interpret these text messages kind of in the best way that they could hope for, right? Which is like, okay, he's a monster, so like maybe whatever. But it's like, there's no way, there's just absolutely no way to define this as trafficking once you understand that the difference between that what defines trafficking is this right here, okay? Sex trafficking involves controlling someone, often through deception, force, or compelling them to perform sexual acts for someone else's profit. This differs from prostitution, which may or may not involve coercion and where the individual typically engages in sex work willingly, okay? So crystal clear in legal terms, if Cassie was a willing participant in this thing, then you cannot charge him with trafficking, right? Like that is what that says, okay? So if you have a text message thread between Cassie and Diddy, where she's like, oh my God, I love freak-offs. I cannot wait to do another freak-off. And Diddy's like, man, we've been doing a lot of freak-offs lately, so you better saddle up, cowboy, because this Thursday we are freaking off. Okay, like you can't, like, bottom line, that's not trafficking if that is what is in the text, all right? So let's jump into this thing right now, okay? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet and you're not so angry at me that I am going to tell you listen, I'm just giving you my legal opinion. I am not rooting for Diddy to beat this case, right? So let's just start down here and go through this. Okay, so the prosecution is showing photos of a running list of escorts. We're currently at 13 that Ventura says were hired for freak-offs. She testifies that these men were often found through a contact with a business called Cowboys for Angels, which advertises that it provides male companions. So it's a male escort service. Ventura is identifying the escorts with names she knew them by: Ash, Tommy, Greg, and a man known as Islander, okay? Cassandra testifies that it was her responsibility to reach out to male escorts and that it was Sean Combs directing her to do so. That was just my job, really. It was expected of me, she says. The prosecution is trying to underscore that Combs was involved in each one of the freak-offs and that it was his money that was used to pay the escorts. Okay. So the key thing to understand here, okay, so they're like, it's his money, she's doing it, and like, so even though she's making the calls and she's paying, it's still Diddy running the show. And you're like, all right, so I mean, you still could say maybe she was doing this under duress, right? So the prosecution showed a 2016 text message from Combs to Ventura about freak-offs. Here's where we start to get into where you're like, I'm sorry, this is showing that, this is the prosecution showing that he's like trafficking her. 2016 text message from Combs to Ventura about freak-offs. He suggested that they have, quote, proper freak-offs without the drug ketamine involved. He wrote that a, quote, successful freak-off was when we remember. Okay. And then he said, I won't bring it up again until you're in that mood, he wrote, suggesting that when she was, he would fly in a man known as Dave. Ventura testifies that ketamine was her preferred drug during freak-offs because it was very disassociative. I'm sorry. Against her will? Like, so she's being trafficked and forced into this? Is that what that sounds like, you guys? Does that sound like she's being trafficked? I won't bring it up again until you are in that mood. Guys, I mean, like, I realize like some people, if you're going to push back on this, it's like, that is the woman in control, you guys. Okay. Like, bottom line, that's her in control. And to reiterate, it doesn't mean Diddy's a good guy. He has beaten her. He is a bad person who has violently assaulted her a million different ways. But that text message is absolutely damning to a trafficking charge. I won't bring it up again until you're in that mood. Okay. Now, when Russian gangsters bring over Eastern European women, okay, from like Bulgaria who just want to come to America for a better life, and they get tricked, telling, oh, you're going to be a waitress or you're going to be a whatever. And then they lock them in hotels and force them into prostitution. That's trafficking. Okay. Do you think that any of those girls It's like, hey, are you in the mood, to like, don't worry, I'm not going to bring up you working again until you're in the mood. But when you are, maybe we could try this thing. Like, I mean, I know that that's like a really extreme example, but this is very clear that she's in control and it just continues on like this. Okay. So check that now. And this is all getting back to like where they were painting it out like he was blackmailing her with these videos. Okay. Remember, he's blackmailing her with the videos. Okay. So keep that in mind. Ventura's testimony is now getting into her account of how videos of the Freakoffs were turned into blackmail materials. Okay. She says that several times Combs brought up the subject of sexually explicit videos of her when he got angry at something. One time I was dating someone else and that's what it was all about. He said, I'm going to put out 2 embarrassing videos of you, she says, adding that she thought he just wanted to hurt me. So this blackmail that you're talking about, the blackmail was him threatening you with sex tapes because he's jealous that you're dating someone else. Okay. If she didn't have free will, how is she dating someone else for him to be threatening her? Right? And then look, in 2013, she texted Combs, please delete any videos out of your iPhone if you have. Too many people have access to your stuff. Combs responded that he had deleted them, but there were times in their relationship, she says, when she saw that videos still existed and that she thought they had been deleted. Guys, this is just like regular relationship stuff. Okay? It's just like regular relationship stuff. If you've been in a long-term relationship with a person that you have like a really healthy sex life, I promise most people have a lot of videos of them having sex with their partner. There's nothing weird about that. Okay? Now, I would suggest doing that with your spouse only because you're going to break up most likely. And then you're like, hey, delete these videos. And like, dude, hey, let me tell you something, ladies. This is going to shock the system. If you've ever let a dude record you having sex with them, 98% chance that video still exists. I'm sure they told you that they deleted them, but if it's a good video, okay, and the dude's proud of himself, that video's still around, okay? Like, that's just what it is. That's not trafficking and that's not blackmail, okay? Like, it's not blackmail if if he would have said, hey, don't even think about stepping back from these freak-offs, girl, because I'll start dropping videos on you. You have no choice. You better call an escort or whatever. In this circumstance, she's dating another guy. She's literally dating another guy, and he's jealous, right? Now, this part is just weird, okay? Like this is after he beat her up in the hotel, because again, he's a monster. This is a terrible person, okay? But after she fled to her apartment, this is after the hotel, he texted her, you're going to abandon me all alone? Call me, please. She answered, please stay far away from me. But she testified that he showed up at her apartment yelling and banging on the door. 2 days later, she went to the premiere of the movie she was starring in. She did the fitting of her outfit at Combs' house and testified that she wore makeup to cover up the bruises on her face and sunglasses to obscure a black eye. Okay, again, he is a domestic violence person. He is a woman beater. He's a piece of shit. Okay? But she is saying, stay away, as far away from me as possible. Leave me alone. He's like, you're going to abandon me all alone? And then she chooses. She goes to his house, does a fitting. Like, she's a battered woman for sure. Okay? Like, she is a victim. But sex trafficking is a very specific charge. Okay? So Ventura testifies that she had an on-again, off-again addiction to opioids. She said that she took them to come down off party drugs, such as ecstasy, which she says she used during freak-offs. Opioids made me feel numb, which is why I relied on them so heavily, she says, later adding, I didn't want to feel what was actually going on in my mind, in my life, in real time. It was just an escape for me. She says that Combs gave her opiates at the time, more commonly at the beginning of their relationship. Okay. I mean, this is like, again, I don't know. This is her acknowledging that she was willingly taking these things. Like, hey guys, do I look like a person who's judging people who has ever had an issue with opioids? Probably not, right? Of course not. And does it sound like I just want to make sure. Does it sound like I'm defending Diddy? I can already hear people in the comments. Why are you defending Diddy? Is that really what this sounds like? Okay. Okay, so she testified that, Ventura testifies that she could sometimes had persistent urinary tract infections and when she and Combs were having frequent freak-offs. And she called the pain horrible. Okay, that's irrelevant, like if you're having sex for multiple days straight, like that's a thing that happens, Okay, here you go. We're getting back to the text messages related to these freak-offs. In text messages between Ventura and Combs, Ventura tells him that she was suffering from sores on her tongue. Ventura testifies that she attributed the sores to activities during freak-offs, including taking drugs and performing oral. He expressed sympathy in the text message, writing to her, "I'm sorry." Okay. So, again, she's like, man, I mean, I have sores in my mouth from doing blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, man, I'm sorry. Okay. It's like, does this sound like she's like being forced into this, right? And there's a lot more coming, believe me. The prosecutor questioning brought up the swinger lifestyle, which the defense has cited as the way to describe Sean Combs' sexual preferences. Ventura seems to agree with the label, but she is clear in her testimony that she did not want to participate in the freak-offs that came to define her relationship with Combs. So she acknowledges that they're swingers. Listen to this one, dude. Ventura testifies that Combs took her to, quote, sex clubs several times, where she at times had sex with Combs and a male escort named Jules. She said she was uncomfortable there, but if she told Combs she didn't want to go, he would typically try to convince her by framing it as a fun outing. What, dude? I didn't want to go, but if I protested, he would frame it as a fun outing. Guys, I'm sorry, that's not trafficking, okay? Like, that's not what trafficking is. All right? Like, she participated in this activity for years, all right? And so if she's like, I don't want to do a sex club right now, he's like, oh, come on. Like, him saying, framing it as a fun outing, okay? That means he's like sometimes a regular dude. You know, he's like, oh, come on, baby. He's like, I got these blue dolphins. Come on, girl. He's rubbing her back. He's like, dude, we got that Ciroc. We're going to have the best time ever. That's not trafficking. Okay, that's just him trying to convince her to go like a boyfriend would. Okay, it doesn't mean he's a good boyfriend, right? Like, in my opinion, a dude who would walk an innocent girl like that into this lifestyle is a horrific person. But that's not the same thing as the crime of trafficking, okay? She testifies that there were times that Sean would put his hands on me during freak-offs. He would grab me up, push me down, hit me on the side of the head, kick me, you name it. I don't know what that, like we've established, he is a person who beats up women. Okay, so let's talk about some of the violence, and then we get to more of this stuff related to the trafficking. Okay, Ventura testifies about an instance of abuse in 2013 when she was with two friends in her apartment before traveling to a music festival. Combs entered and began yelling at her about her sleeping on the couch rather than packing, she testifies. She says that when Combs moved to attack her, her friends jumped on his back. During the altercation, Combs threw her down and she cut her eyebrow on the corner of the bed. So it turns out she has a scar still to this day over her eye that is there forever. A lot of fighters, a lot of you guys that have done, that come from the same kind of like, backgrounds to whatever degree as me, who have done like martial arts or whatever, know that is a very, very easy place to get a scar that is not going to go away. I think I actually have one. I know I have one on my ear right there. You want to see that? Check that out. There you go. Can you see that? I think you can see it. Yeah. That's what that's what it looks like when you get your ear torn off your head. So after that incident, so she had to go to a plastic surgeon, and she sent him a photo of the injury and wrote, so you remember. Okay. Again, if he's being charged with domestic violence, guilty all day. Like, guilty as sin. Okay. Combs responded to Ventura, sending a picture of her injury by texting, "You don't know when to stop. You have pushed it too far and continue to push. Sad." Who does that sound like, dude? After the 2013 attack at her apartment that caused her eyebrow gash, Ventura and Combs went to the Hamptons to have a freak-off at a motel with an escort named Dave. She says she blacked out on the drug GHB and woke up nude in the shower not long after they went forward with the freak-off. She says Ventura says she has a permanent scar on her eyebrow from the 2013 attack. Again, what part of this sounds like she's not even like pretending that he's forcing her into it. Like that's the whole point. She is not even pretending that he is forcing her to do this stuff. Okay. Okay. So on this one, that's kind of a nothing burger, really. Okay. So maybe feel, wait, where is it? Okay, so this is one of those ones. This is like the only thing that kind of sounds that way. After Combs threatened to embarrass her by releasing the videos, Cassie on the plane, they were traveling to New York. She says that Combs wanted to have a freak-off. At that point, whatever was going to make him not be angry at me and threatening me, I was willing to do. I just didn't want to feel scared anymore. It was the one thing he made me feel like I was good at. Okay, that sounds like a coached answer personally to me, but maybe. Okay, that's the closest thing you're going to get to trafficking in this entire thing. All of the rest of it makes it sound like nonsense, dude. Okay. Okay, hang on. Here you go. Perfect. This is the very first one that I saw where I was like, well, this is a headshot, but this wasn't even, I mean, the one below where he's like, we won't talk about it again until you're in the mood. That's a that's over, dude. Like, that's a headshot to the trafficking thing. Okay, but here, Ventura read aloud a text message she sent to Sean Combs in 2017 in which she writes that nothing good comes out of Freakoffs anymore. You treat me like you're Ike Turner, she wrote, referring to Tina Turner's former husband who was abusive to her. Ventura testifies that she made that comparison because Combs was abusive and controlling. I agree. I 100% agree. Okay, but again, domestic violence, not the same as trafficking. Okay, listen to this. Among the many texts between Cassandra Ventura and Sean Combs read into evidence today are some loving messages between the troubled couple. You are truly the most extraordinary man, Ventura texted him on one Father's Day when the two were together amid other messages working out the logistics of a freak-off. Quote, thank you for always showing me love and happiness the way it's supposed to be, she wrote, adding that she couldn't wait until the couple had a baby of their own. When asked by the prosecutor why she sent those messages, she said, because I loved him and it was Father's Day. Okay. Something tells me that those Russian mafia guys probably not texting back and forth with the girls they're trafficking, that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's another one that's really, really big. Hang on. So one eyewitness presented 4. Okay, so here's another thing though. This is really important. So another one of the people they're saying was trafficked, okay, and that is going to witness, it's going to be a witness, victim number 4, is an employee. It's an employee that he invited into one of the freak-offs with Cassie. Okay. So like this entire sex trafficking thing is every part of it is built around these freak-offs with Cassie, with just Cassie. As far as we know so far, it might change. They got, these are the 2 witnesses so far. And there's 3 witnesses actually. Holy shit. So the escort, her, and if this is it, if this is the entire case, I'm telling you right now, if there is like when they're, like these anonymous victims, if the next victim is just another person being brought in for freak-offs, then man, like I hope there's more. If people want to see him get convicted, I hope there's more, dude. I really do. Okay, so there's a lot of this that gets into how they got into fist fights before. And I'll read you one that is insane. Just to make sure that I'm being clear, okay, that Diddy is not a person that I am defending at all. Listen to this, okay? So here we go. So Ventura recalls going to a party in LA where Prince was supposed to perform a few years into her relationship with Combs. She went with girlfriends, she said, but had not asked Combs for permission to attend because she was scared he would say no. When Combs showed up at the party, she ran out as fast as she could to the front yard. She knew he was angry at her. Later that night, Combs beat her up and threw luggage at her. That's nice, Hey, way to build a stable relationship where she feels like, hey, like I wonder why she didn't tell you she was going to go to that party. Like just think about that for her mindset when it comes to the abusive relationship she was in. Okay, just think about that for a second, right? She says, I went to this party at Prince's house and I didn't tell him because I was afraid he would say no and get angry with me. Okay. Then he ends up at the party and what ends up happening? He takes her to a hotel and beats her blue and then throws luggage at her. And it's like, gee, I wonder why she was lying to him. This is why I'm saying like the guy's a monster. This is the one that gets under my skin the most though. And I'll tell you exactly why after. So testifying about another time she was stomped on and beaten by Combs, Ventura recalls being made to hide out at a hotel for a week so her visible wounds could heal. Ventura, who had punched Combs after he called her a slur, wanted to go home to her mother, she says, but knew she was not allowed and that it wouldn't be safe. I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, the threats he made prior to that, she says. I was privy. Later, Ventura's mother shared the so-called blind item in the online gossip press recounting the details of the assault, asking if it was referring to her and Combs. I didn't tell my mom the truth because I was ashamed. I also didn't want to put my mother in danger for knowing anything of that magnitude. Okay? So listen to this. This is what happened. Recounting the first time Sean physically abused her, it was, I'm sorry. That's not, it's right here. I'm sorry. Man, where is that one? It was like, here it is. Here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. After a night out, when she heard him insult her to another person, she punched him in their car and his demeanor immediately changed. Oh, no way. His demeanor changed after you punched him? His eyes went black, she said. He beat her brutally in the car, stomping on her face with his foot, she said. She was taken to a hotel to recover in secrecy. Stomping on her face with his foot. Okay. That one, like I'm telling, like my hair stands on end when I think about that, dude. Stomping on a girl's head, dude. Now, here's more though, okay? After finding out Cassie and Scott Medusi, better known as Kid Cudi, were dating, Sean Combs threatened to hurt them and release 2 explicit Freakoff videos of Ventura. She was dating another guy, okay? He was jealous. That's not blackmail, okay? Like that's him. That's if anything, it's revenge porn. But he didn't do it, okay? He didn't do it. This is what I'm saying, okay? This is the key to understanding the point that I am making, all right? If a person threatens to release a tape of you engaged in that kind of behavior because they're angry at you because you're dating someone new, okay? That is threatening you with revenge porn. Okay. If they do it, that is a criminal charge of revenge porn if he releases the tape. But getting angry when they find out that you are dating someone else and threatening to release that, that's not blackmail. Okay. That is not the same thing. Unless he says, you need to break up with him right now. You need to get over here and engage in a freak off. Otherwise, I'm going to do that. That's blackmail. But that is not at all what she's saying. Okay, it is not the same thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm talking about whether or not his behavior fits a specific criminal charge that is cited in the indictment. Now, here's one thing that I did want to read to you guys that's kind of unrelated to all of this that I like. So, yesterday they requested that Alex Fine, who is her father, I think it's her husband, father of her 2 babies. She's pregnant now with their third. He's in the courtroom and the defense wanted him gone. Okay, so I was saying, I'm like, gosh, man, how could you deal with having to listen or see images and all this of like things like this that happened to your wife with the dude who did it in the same room? It must be extremely challenging. But listen to this, okay? So in the courtroom, Cassandra Ventura, her husband Alex Fine, and Sean Combs are an uneasy trio. While Ventura never seems to look at Combs, preferring to stare at the prosecutors into space or down at the table in front of her, Fine occasionally turns to look at Combs across the aisle before turning back to his wife on the stand. Okay, so this is how it's going, okay? So I was talking to Gabrielle. If you guys don't watch Play with Matches, the channel that I have with my wife, we just did a video about this that I dropped earlier today, and we were talking about this. I'm like, so if you're Diddy, how are you interpreting this entire thing? You're interpreting this as someone you dated for a decade betraying you on a level that you can't even wrap your brain around because he's a narcissist. He can't understand what he did here. Like, he only sees the world through his own self-interest. And so to him, he's like, she's trying to put me in prison for the rest of my life. This is like, he can't even wrap his brain around it, right? Okay. Well, so she is the one on the stand doing the talking. The outcome is going to be Diddy almost certainly going to prison for a very long time. And Alex Fine, the husband, is sitting there. And so she gets to, when she looks out into the crowd, she sees him. And Alex Fine is a tough guy looking dude, man. Okay. Like, he is a dude who looks like if he fought Diddy, he would beat that face in, dude. Okay. Diddy's not winning that fight. And so knowing that, now I understand. Now I totally understand. Sit in the, you're providing support for your lady. You're like, you say whatever you need. That guy even makes a move towards you, and just like, obviously that's not like really going to happen, but you playing that role in this thing, you're for all intents and purposes, you're killing him. Like, you're killing him. Like, so now that just sounds totally gangster to me, you know? Just sounds really gangster to me, and I like it. Okay, so by the end, Ventura testifies she broke things off with Kid Cudi. You know, that was the whole thing after, you know, Diddy blew up his car. Okay. I'm sure he's going to get convicted of that. That's going to be in the RICO, you know, like that's going to be in the RICO. He's going to jail. Like he's going to prison. Okay. So that's probably enough, you know, honestly, like this is probably enough. I mean, there's so, whoa, never mind. We're going to actually, I'm going to cut this video off right now, but I'm going to talk about the grape at the beginning of the video because this is now new information. Okay. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Bye-bye.